Attention everybody, the views and opinions expressed on the show are not necessarily those of Axe Ministry, Axe Media Group, and or their affiliate subordinate ministries and or nonprofits. So without any further ado, the man with the plan to put gold in your hand. I backed it up too much, Tony. Well, I guess we'll wait a second. I just want you to hear the hook. Here we go. It's Tony Hammock. Anyways, there you go, Tony. Take it away. We'll get that figured out eventually.
Well, thank you, Matt. Hey, it's good to be here. Good morning out there in Axe Media land. Thanks for tuning in, and hopefully you all had a nice Memorial Day and played it safe with the masks and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully you weren't up there at Lake of the Ozarks, and it looks like the one pool we had in the state of Missouri, because it was just plumb full of people. So much for social distancing and stuff. But anyway, hey, we've got a jam-packed show for you this morning. And I've got a couple of new things that I'm going to kind of throw in here just because I think that they're worth knowing and so forth. Usually we start out with the reading on stewardship and stuff, but I think today what I'm going to do, mainly because I don't want to forget it, since it is new. If I don't do it right away, I probably will forget it. I'm going to do this first, which is the gold and silver bullion and tax laws in Missouri. I know that sounds real exciting, but there's actually some neat stuff in there. I found this the other day and wanted to share it on the show and so forth, and then we'll kind of get into some of the normal stuff as far as the reading on stewardship and a couple other little things that have come up since last week. I mean, one of the neat things about having this show on a weekly basis is if you think it's boring, just wait a few minutes and things change. I mean, anymore between what's happening with our world from a health standpoint, or from a political standpoint, or from a financial standpoint, seems like almost every day there's just more and more headlines that are kind of interesting, and some are, first-time events that we've never had to experience before and stuff. But I found this the other day, and I kind of wanted just to kind of go through it. I'll probably try and just do the highlights and stuff, but let's see if I can make this happen. These are the Missouri laws on gold and silver. And most of you probably know, Missouri was admitted to the Union back in 1821. We got 7 million people. We're the 18th most populated state in the Union and the 21st largest in area. It's home to major metropolitan hubs, including KC and St. Louis. And Missouri has taken modest steps to cultivate an environment more conducive to sound money ownership and use. So remember, when I use the term sound money, that's the little code phrase that a lot of people have for gold and silver. It's called sound money, as compared to fiat currency, which is what we've got with the U.S. dollar. In fact, that's what everybody has with their currencies, because none of them are backed by anything. Basically, a fiat currency is one that's not backed by anything. It's a currency mainly because the government says it is. And so anyway, we're trying to get away from that. But let me see here. Missouri state sales tax laws. Missouri has started the process of freeing gold and silver from bureaucratic shackles. According to Section 144.815.1, bullion and investment coins are specifically exempted from all local sales taxes. The Missouri statute defines bullion as gold, silver, platinum, or palladium in a bulk state where its value depends on its content rather than its form. With a purity of not less than 900 parts per thousand, investment coins is defined as numismatic coins or other forms of money in legal tender manufactured of gold, silver, platinum, palladium, or metals with a fair market value greater than the face value of the coins. For more information on rolling back sales tax on constitutional money, click here, so we won't do that right now. Missouri capital gains tax. Missouri law, like most states, is chock full of draconian revenue statutes. Under current law, gold and silver are subject to capital gains taxation when exchanged for Federal Reserve notes or when used in barter transactions. However, there is reason to be hopeful. In 2013, 14, and 2015, Missouri has introduced an act that would create an income tax deduction for the amount of capital gains income incurred by the resident from the exchange of gold or silver issued by the federal government. While these measures have failed, Missouri legislatures continue to introduce the bill and are hopeful that it would pass soon. Income taxes are one major way government bureaucrats penalize holders of precious metals. If you own gold to protect against the ongoing devaluation of America's paper currency, you may end up with a gain on your gold when it's priced in dollars. Not necessarily a real gain, mind you. It's frequently nothing more than a nominal gain. But it's nonetheless considered income against which the government assures a tax. However, other state legislatures across the country have started to recognize that paying taxes on nominal gains is beyond the pale. Arizona and Utah recently eliminated capital gains taxation on precious metals, and Idaho hopes to follow soon, and more information to follow on that. And then the last little bit here is gold and silver recognized as money in Missouri. The United States Constitution states in Article 1, Section 10, no state shall make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. Now remember, that's right there in the U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 10. No state shall make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. Legislative acts that take steps towards this constitutional requirement are slowly gaining steam. Utah and Oklahoma are leaders in this field, declaring gold and silver as money within their states. Missouri has not reaffirmed its constitutional duty to treat gold and silver coins as tender for payment of debt, as Oklahoma and Utah did with the recent passage of SB 862 and HB 157, respectively. In 2012, Missouri introduced HB 1637. While the measure was not signed into law, Missouri lawmakers are moving towards sound money. Oklahoma's SB 862 reads, in part, gold and silver coins issued by the U.S. government are legal tender in the state of Oklahoma. No person may compel another person to tender or accept gold or silver coins that are issued by the U.S. government except as agreed upon by contract. And then Utah's HB 157 reads, in part, except as expressly provided by contract, a person may not compel any other person to tender or accept legal tender. The phrase exceed as agreed upon by contract has significant ramification. This wording reaffirms the court's ability and constitutional responsibility according to Article 1, Section 10, to require specific performance when enforcing such contracts. If voluntary parties agree to be paid or to pay in gold and silver coin, the Oklahoma courts may not substitute any other thing, in other words, Federal Reserve notes, as payment. Gold clause contracts are a useful tool to give both creditors and borrowers alike protection against the currency risk resulting from both inflation and deflation. Practically speaking, state laws that recognize gold and silver as money restore a government view of precious metals as the favored form of money, a currency rather than a piece of property or other asset. Using this logic, it would be inappropriate for a state to levy taxes when the precious metals are used or exchanged. And we've got a couple other things there. Missouri law does not currently allow for a state bullion depository. While Missouri may not currently have a bullion depository within the state, there's reason to be hopeful. Texas is championing the state depository cause, and other states will likely follow suit. In June of 2015, Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed House Bill 483 into law. Authored by Representative Giovanni Caprileone, this bill allows for the establishment and administration of a state bullion depository. According to the official Texas Depository website, House Bill 483 allows for the nation's first state bullion depository to be established in Texas under the supervision of the state's comptroller's office. Upon signing the bill, Governor Greg Abbott said that with the passage of this bill, the Texas Bullion Depository will become the first state-level facility of its kind in the nation, increasing the security and ability of our gold reserves and keeping taxpayer funds from leaving Texas to pay for fees to store gold in facilities outside of our state. And let me see. Missouri holding reserves in gold and silver, question mark. Financially prudent individuals set aside surplus funds to protect against unforeseen expenditures. This way, when faced with loss of income, house repairs, car trouble, or anything else, they will have a buffer against unanticipated downturns. In the same vein, almost every state in the U.S. has established a savings account for government operations, primarily to mitigate a decline in tax revenues that comes alongside economic slumps. States have created so-called budget stabilization funds, colloquially known as rainy day funds. Unfortunately, like every other state in the Union, Missouri does not hold any of its reserves in gold and silver. So in other words, we have a rainy day fund in Missouri, but none of the funds or reserves are held in gold and silver. While Missouri may not hold its reserves in gold and silver yet, Tennessee is setting an example by considering legislation that would allow for this. Tennessee Representative Bud Hulsey introduced House Bill 0777, which requires the state treasurer to invest 40% of the funds in the rainy day fund in gold bullion or other precious metal bullion. This bill will be voted on, says here in 2018, so hopefully we know the outcome by next week's show. In Missouri, holding physical gold and silver in government pension funds, and this is the last little part of this. Millions of Americans will rely on pensions once they've reached the age of retirement. Pension fund managers have a fiduciary duty to safeguard funds against foreseeable risks. While the practices of today's Federal Reserve, there is no risk more foreseeable than inflation. But with very few exceptions, pension money managers are not fulfilling their duty to protect against this significant risk by investing in assets that are specifically suited to defend against the perpetual decline of the dollar's purchasing power. Chief among these assets are physical gold and silver, the most reliable inflation hedges from time immemorial. Tens of millions of Americans and their employers pour money into pension funds each month, counting on those funds to grow and be there when needed at retirement. But a time bomb awaits. The bulk of U.S. pension funds are dangerously underfunded, and the assets are often invested in securities that have bleak prospects providing income that keeps up with the general decline in purchasing power. In the case of underfunded government pensions, higher taxes invariably follow, combined with potential default and obligations to retired workers. Unfortunately, Missouri's government pension funds do not appear to hold any assets in physical gold and silver. Texas gives states an example to emulate. The Texas Teacher Retirement Fund and the University of Texas own nearly $1 billion in physical gold as a non-correlated asset to bonds, stocks, and other paper-based investments. Precious metals are key to true diversification. So at this point in the Missouri government pension funds, they hold no physical gold or silver. Hopefully after we continue on with some of these bills and measures and stuff, that will change. But I just thought that was kind of interesting. Hopefully you'll agree with me. If not, that's probably the only time I'm going to read that on this show. But I just thought that, especially if you're a resident of the state of Missouri, I realize that the broadcast goes out to other states, hopefully in our viewing audience, probably west Arkansas and possibly southeast Kansas and northeast Oklahoma and wherever else. If you live in a state and would like to know how your state views gold and silver, let us know. Give me a call or a text at 417-755-0700, or let Matt know. Text him or something like that, and I can look into the gold and silver bullion and tax laws in that state, because I've got it for all 50 states. I just thought I'd kind of focus on Missouri for today's show and stuff. Anyway, that was a mouthful. Let me see if I can find our stewardship course here real quick, because this is the one we usually start with, and I kind of wanted to get that one out of the way so I didn't forget about it. Here we go. The money series. And if I remember correctly, we are on lesson number 3, I think. Let me just look at the devotional. Oh, yeah. Day 3. Make a budget. This is one of like 12 lessons. Taking off, Steve?
Yeah.
Okay, have a good one. Drive careful.
All right, thanks. I'll see you in a little bit.
Oh, the budget topic. Here we go. We learned before that money is a tool used to accomplish God's purposes and that we are called to be stewards of what God has given us. So if everything is God's, which makes us stewards, and we want to be good stewards to glorify God, then we need to know what we're doing with what God has given us. And a budget helps us do that. A budget is how we keep track of God's tool. Unfortunately, there are many negative connotations we have to deal with when thinking about a budget. Most people think about being on a budget means you can't manage your money well or that you don't have any of it, but consider this. Think of a business you work for or have worked for before. How many of those companies have an annual budget? How many of those companies still make a lot of money? And if they do, why then do they still have a budget? A budget is not negative or something you've put in place because you can't manage money. In fact, it's the opposite. It is how we manage the money. In fact, if you don't have a budget, then you couldn't be managing money well at all. At the very most, you're reacting to how money is spent versus proactively telling the money where to go. Be a good steward. Holy smokes, it's right there in the title, Matt. Be a good steward.
Yes.
We create a budget because God cares about what we do with what He has given us and cares enough to audit us when He returns. That being said, one of the most important things we can do when making a budget is pray. Budgeting is a prayerful exercise. You need to pray through your budget. If married, do this together so you can better understand what God wants your budget to look like. Define how much is enough. A budget forces you to define how much is enough. Left to ourselves without a budget, our enough constantly expands, usually at a higher rate than our income. A budget plants a flag that says, this is enough. Increases in income don't have to be immediately followed by increases in spending on ourselves. It can mean increased giving, then increased savings, then increased spending. Whatever it means, it's prayed through prior to creating or adjusting the budget. Work to meet your God-given goals. When we have important goals in our lives, we write them down. We consider what the end goal looks like, then we backtrack it all the way to our current day in order to lay out the steps to achieve that goal. If we are just reactive with our money, don't have a plan, occasionally just glance at our bank balances, then we don't ever get the shot to write down our financial goals and make proactive steps to achieve them. A budget allows for you to not only manage God's money well, but also allows you to lay out the goals you believe God has given you, and then make steps in order to achieve those goals. You better believe God isn't just giving you money just to give you money. Remember, it's His tool and it's used to accomplish His purposes. Budget principles to remember. Plan your spending away from the actual spending. Take time to plan your budget before you start spending the money. That way it helps remove emotion out of the decision making. Every dollar must have a home. As you lay out your category lines in your overall plan, every dollar of income has to be put into one of your categories. You can't just leave money sitting out there. It must be assigned. That means by the time you complete your budget, you should have income minus allocated category lines equals 0. You can't spend what you don't have. Once your category runs out of money, you are done spending money for that category until you get paid again. This rule applies to the overall budget as well. Just remember, you can't spend what you don't already have. Do not use debt. Track everything the first couple of months to make sure the budget is accurate, and give yourself some grace because this is hard work and it takes time. For extra or unexpected income, remember you still have to give every dollar a home. Pay off your debt, put it towards your goals, or reward yourself with some extra entertainment money. But no matter what you do, make sure you pray about it and then assign it. Getting started in budget resources. So what are you waiting for? Get started. No matter what kind of tool you use to help you, you're going to list out all of your income and expenses that occur within a month. You're going to You're going to lay all of that out and then pray through the budget categories to create tithe, savings, rent, mortgage, insurance, groceries, fuel, etc. This will help give you an idea of where you are at and where you need to go from there. There are many, many tools out there for budgeting, so the best thing I could tell you is whatever system works for you and helps you to be a good steward, use that system. So whether it's pen and paper, a spreadsheet, or various online tools, find the system that works for you and stick to it. Here are some resources. Mint, You Need a Budget, I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, Dave Ramsey, ChooseFi, Crown Personal Finance, and Personal Capital. By the way, all those are if you're not aware of those names, those are all programs that I think in most cases you can get on your phone that will help with budgeting. What we do, I started with Mint a long time ago to learn where I was spending money. It was good, not perfect, but started getting me to think more. I tried various spreadsheets for budgeting, but what ultimately worked for me more than any other system was You Need a Budget. YNAB is the acronym. No, this isn't a sponsorship and there's no affiliation here. It's just a tool that has worked great for me and our family, and I haven't found a tool out there that can beat it. So we have one budget, and within that budget plan are about 25 lines. I have tithing and other giving lines at the top, savings and other goals after that, our monthly fixed bills after that, and then lines like groceries, fuel, my allowance, and Joel's allowance after that. Quick note for marriages, you must budget some personal spending money with no questions asked. Those lines for us are called allowances, and you can call yours whatever you want, but it's very important in your marriage to give each other money of your own to spend with no conversations about it. Just set it and move it on. Each month, every dollar is assigned to their lines, and then we spend money out of our lines. I rarely look at our bank balance anymore, except for when I'm reconciling to make sure things are being recorded correctly. Instead, I'm looking at the available balances of each individual line. When we go to the grocery store, it's not how much money do we have in the bank, but rather how much money do we have in groceries, and we make our decisions from there. This allows us to keep on track with giving, move ahead on our goals, stay out of debt, and be good stewards of our lines and overall budget. And I'm typically recording each transaction in about 3 seconds using the YNAB app, so our budget is always up to date. And I know that was a long one, but boy, that was a good one. As far as if you're on a budget, stay the course. If you're not on a budget, you might think about it. And, as it says, just whatever one works for you. I know over the years I've tried several of the programs that were mentioned there, and anymore, to tell you the truth, what's working for me in our budget is just a good old spreadsheet. So I'm kind of a spreadsheet guy anyway, which if we had more time, I'd tell you funny stories from my past, but we don't have time. In fact, with Matt sitting right here, I think it's time to let Matt do his public service announcement.
My public service announcement? I guess you could consider it a public service announcement. Let me back it up so they can see me as well. So, folks, we have the Axe Media Group telethon coming up starting next week. So this is Wednesday. So on Wednesday of next week, here's what we got going on. We got the talent show, and that's going to be cool. We have the music or the Christian music competition the day before, but then this is the talent show. It can be music. It can be, I believe we got somebody that's going to do a version of my song with one of his puppets. So that's going to be interesting. And that's June 3rd. Of course, with all of this, folks, there's going to be up to 8 competitors, and you can do it live up here, or you can record a video of it, and we'll find a way for you to get that to me somehow, and we can play that during the show. There will be a rerun time. Each vote, $1 equals 1 vote. So let's say you have somebody, let's say you want to donate $50 to us. You can tell who you want to vote for. In the for section, when you go to axemediagroup.com, go to the PayPal donate button, and there's a little for section, so you know what it's for, and you can put which one you want to vote for, and split up the votes however you want. And then also, best show or program. That's going to be fun. Contest. That's a 1 to 3 minute clip of one of our shows that we have here within Axe Media Group, and You vote on the best ones. Now there is a $50. I'm sorry, a 25% of all donations go to the winner of each event, subject to a minimum of $50 donation before awards. So the point of this is so that we can get more financial ease in operating costs and possibly be able to expand our hours of operation and as well the different types of shows that we have. So we're really excited about this, and we're looking forward to partnering up with you guys. Go to axmediagroup.com. Scroll down. You'll see a bunch of our videos, and then you'll see what's coming on with AxeFest. And then you'll read an article by Dr. Paul Collins, and then underneath that is all the stuff in regards to the telethon. And there's also an entry form if you want to be a part of it. The entry form needs to be filled out and sent to me, so that way we can put you on the roster. So, anyways, axemediagroup.com. Back to you, Tony.
Thanks, Matt.
You're welcome.
I know I'm fired up.
It's going to be fun. Thanks, Matt.
That's like our oldest son, Noah. Noah is just one of those real stoic personalities. And, the most incredible thing can happen to him. And, you're expecting him to be like, and you go, so how was that, Noah? And he'll be like, really good.
That was awesome. Totally awesome.
Oh, anyway, I guess you have to be there. So, hey, one of the things I was so excited to bring to today's show is a new product that was just launched yesterday. And I've got to tell you, this product is a creation of 7K Metals. You guys have, for those of you that have tuned in, week after week, you've heard 7K Metals a couple times over the last year. They're out of Idaho Falls, Idaho. They're one of my favorite companies for acquiring sound money, gold and silver. And what they have created is the Sound Money Wallet. And it literally just launched yesterday. And I got to tell you, the how they say it here is manage your portfolio. The control is now in your hands. Convert your cash to gold or silver in an instant. We'll keep it safe and sound and be ready to put it in the mail if you ever want it. You can transfer cash, gold, or silver to another member at any time also. And so what they're saying is and I did this yesterday. I sent a small amount just to kind of test the waters. I have an ACH form signed with them so I can transfer money from my checking account over to 7K Metals. And if we had it set up, Matt, we're going to have to one of these days get it to where I can share my screen with the viewers and stuff. But yesterday at 3:14 p.m., I sent $100 from my checking account to this Sound Money wallet. And when it is posted, then I can take that $100 and I can move it into gold or silver instantly. Now, you don't have to, 100's not the limit. I mean, there's folks there. In fact, there are no limits. You can do as much as you want, or down to the smallest amounts you want. I will tell you that right now they're valuing the 1 ounce gold eagle at $1,813.55, and they're valuing the 1 ounce silver eagle at $25.50. So what that means is let's say I wanted to move, excuse me, pardon me, my $100 into gold when it's posted. I can. I don't have to wait until I have $1,813.55 in there. I can move 100 into gold. I'll have a fractional share of that gold, and then if and when I ever want it back, I can go in, sell it, or move it back to cash, and then have them either send me a check or send a deposit through ACH back to my checking account. And in the silver area, for amounts 10,000 or less, there are no fees. If it's gold, it's 50,000 or less. And if you get past those, in the very large amounts, there are some fees. They're very, very nominal, especially if you ever compare them to anybody out there that has something close to this. But, I mean, that's the point. Nobody really does. This is going to be so cool. And I don't know if I'm articulating it well enough, but let me try again. In other words, let's say you wanted to put money in gold and silver. The way before yesterday would be you would probably go buy some. You would have to either pay with it with a credit card, which they would tack on 2 or 3% because of the processing fees. They'd have to send it to you. There are some places that have vaults where they would actually hold your gold and silver. And, if you went to sell it, in some cases you'd actually have to find someone that wanted to buy it. And which is never the case with 7K because they promise to always buy your gold and silver back. But anyway, not to get off in the weeds, the point with the Sound Money wallet is now it's instantaneous, and it is all there. So, for example, you could move, let's say you moved $2,000 in. Once it was posted, you could take and buy an entire gold eagle, put the rest in silver eagles, and then a week from now, if you decided, hey, I'm kind of tired of gold and silver, I just want it in cash, you could go to your computer and move it back to cash, and it happens like that. It's fantastic. This is going to be so neat for people who want to do this kind of stuff. I mean, let's put it this way. With everything that's going on in the economy, and not only just the U.S. economy, but the world economy with the COVID-19 and all the things that the Fed and the Treasury Department are doing just here in the U.S., there's a lot of people out there that would wonder, why would you want to save large sums of money in dollars, and especially dollars that are in banks? Because there's a lot of uncertainty there. So why wouldn't you want to save your large sum of money, your large sums, easy for me to say, in gold and silver? And this gives you a way to do it with fewer transaction fees than you're ever going to find. And also with this seamless technology they've come up with, so that they can do it, in an instant. And by the way, all of your money that goes into this, and whether it's being held in silver or gold, is insured. So it's just a nice depository, I guess you'd call it, to where you could take and have your funds in gold, silver, or cash, and it would be up to you on how to do that. There is some Q&A here, as far as FAQs and frequently asked questions and stuff, and I was just thinking I might try and go through a few of these. Like, for example, the first one is, why is the price so much higher than the spot price? And the answer is, instead of giving you a paper or trading price of precious metals and then make you purchase your precious physical metals at market rate if you ever want them sent to you, we instead give you the physical price of silver or gold from the get-go. No swaps, no paper, just a real transaction backed by real gold or silver. All purchase price are based on the American Gold Eagle and the American Silver Eagles. All purchase prices are set from member direct pricing for those items found at 7K. So we've talked about that in the past, where a lot of people look at spot, which is what I'm going to read here in just a second as far as today's prices, and spot is just kind of an indicator. If it's ever even used, it's from the mine to the mint. In other words, it's a price that you and I can never get, unless you're, I guess, a miner or a mint. So the point is that depending how you're getting your gold and silver or selling your gold and silver, there is a premium involved. And, there's a distribution channel. It may go from the mine to the mint to a wholesaler, and the wholesaler may sell it to a reseller, and then the reseller sells it to a retailer. And there could be a lot of different middlemen, if you will, in that distribution channel. Where with 7K, one of the neat things about it is they've always said you can get dealer direct pricing, which you can, but that's what they're basing the price of the Gold Eagle and the Silver Eagle on for this transaction. So, in fact, right here, why gold and silver eagles as the coin of choice? Gold and silver eagles are two of the most sought-after coins ever minted by a sovereign nation. Guaranteed for weight and purity, the premium they carry can be protection against ever-increasing market volatility. The next one is, what does buyback mean? Buyback price is the price that we will buy your precious metals back when you would like to convert any silver or gold assets back to cash. It is a standard practice in the gold and silver industry. We happen to be doing it without any gimmicks and instantly. The buyback price you will see here is one of the most competitive you will find in the market. All buyback pricing is based on member buyback pricing from 7K on these items. And then it says a pro tip. This platform is designed to buy and accumulate precious metals for the long term and only convert them back to cash when you get in a pinch. So in other words, I mean, you know, if you're wanting to do day trading or, you know, every day in and out and stuff, I mean, you'd probably be able to get away with it for a while, but I mean, that's not what they're trying to encourage. They're trying to encourage, you know, when you move into gold and silver, you're doing it as a foundation to your overall financial plan. And if you're doing that right, you're not making very many changes unless you're changing the diversification and reallocating your holdings and stuff. How long does it take to transfer to and from cash to gold and silver? Instantly. The minute you push the button, it's done. Can I have the precious metals I purchased sent to me at any time? Yes. The minute you choose to convert your gold or silver assets back to cash, we will carefully run to the vault and start packing your metal. Unlike some other companies who claim to offer this service, then make you wait 6 weeks while they find the metal, we will get it in the mail, headed to your doorstep immediately. Are there fees to use the Sound Money wallet? You will find that some transactions, like cash to any precious metal asset, carry no fees. And other transactions, such as member-to-member transfers, carry some minimum fees to help us cover technology costs. So in other words, let's say Matt was in 7K and I'm in 7K, and let's say I owed Matt, you know, $100.
I'm liking where this is going.
I figured you would. I could, you know, obviously, instead of maybe pulling my wallet out or going to the ATM or something like that, I could go into the Sound Money wallet and I could send $100 to Matt in the system. And that's what they're talking about, member to member.
You can show by example real quick if you like.
Well, I don't have.
Oh, I'm not on 7K. Oh, never mind. It's worth a shot.
Yeah, you see what he was doing there?
Almost had you.
Yeah, he almost did. We need to get you in 7K, then we can work on that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so where are the precious metals I buy stored? The precious metals are held in a non-segregated, high-security vault, ready to be packaged and shipped if you ever want them in your safe at home. What type of security surrounds my Sound wallet assets? 4 layers of cutting-edge security surround all the assets stored from the Sound Money wallet. So they've got 4 levels of cutting-edge security. There's just a few more here, folks. Is there a max transfer amount inside of a specific time period? Nope. Now, think about that. There's no maximum amount or a specific time. So let's say you wanted to do $1 million. I mean, that would be kind of fun to be able to do that. But basically, what you could do is you could ACH your $1 million into your Sound Money wallet. And then at that point, once it posted, you could take and move it into gold or silver. I mean, there is no limit. Can I fund my Sound Money wallet with precious metals I already own? And this might be important to some of you folks out there. Yes, but this method is in beta, so that means they're kind of still testing it out, working out the kinks. Please call support at 7K or email support@7kmetals.com to get details if you have metal you would like placed in your Sound Money wallet. So that's not something that's, you know, perfected just yet, but it is something that will be. Does Sound Money keep enough physical metal on hand to send me my silver or gold when I request it? Yep. We take regulations or your trust very seriously. Through third-party audits and company policies in place, we are required to have sufficient physical gold and silver on hand to cover any transactions placed. If I send in my precious metals to fund my Sound Money wallet, and request my metal at a later date, will Sound Money send me the original metal I sent in? Most likely not. Your metal would be placed in a non-segregated vault, and if you requested the metal again, you would probably receive a similar type, but not the exact metal you sent in. Are there any storage fees when I have gold and silver in my Sound Money wallet? Not until you reach pro level and have 10,000 worth of silver in your wallet or 50,000 of gold. After that, the fees are industry best. Besides, you get the advantages of private vaulting and you don't have to spend thousands on a safe. What are the fees if I reach the minimum? An example of silver at 10,000 would be $7 per quarter. So think about that, $7 a quarter, 4 times 7, that's $28 a year to have, over $10,000 in silver held there. And gold at 50,000 would be about $15 a quarter. So you're looking at $60 a year. So as I said, nominal fees once you get past those levels. What's the difference between Sound Money Wallet and Sound Money Vaults? The Sound Money Wallet is a digital wallet for cash and precious metals, and all assets on hand to cover these transactions are held in a non-segregated vaulting space. Sound Money Vaults, which is another one of their services, are individually assigned vaults to store collectible coins and individual coins that need to be tracked with identifiers to return to the owner when requested. So in other words, you have 2 ways you could store gold and silver with 7K. One is in this brand new Sound Money wallet, and one is in the Sound Money vault. If you did the vault, whatever you had stored there, you would get back. They would have a tracking number that they would assign when they received it, and they would make sure you got that back. How do I get cash if I get in a pinch? Simply transfer your gold or silver assets back to cash. Sound Money will purchase the metal back from you at the posted buyback rate plus a small fee. More convenient than dealing with gimmicks, shipping, and all the time back and forth trying to sell back metals the traditional way. Are my Sound Money wallet assets fully insured? Yes, all assets kept in Sound Money wallet and vaults are fully insured. So that gives you kind of a first glimpse, if you will, at the Sound Money wallet. And as you can tell, I am very excited about it. I just think this is going to be kind of, this is cutting edge as far as having this available before anybody else. Okay, so real quick before we run out of time, I told you we'd get into some pricing. Bitcoin, as we speak, is $9,159.92. For those of you that are interested in Bitcoin, there we go. Now these prices are going to be as of 9:46 this morning Central Standard Time. Gold right now is $17,001.40. Silver is $17.14. Platinum is $818. Palladium is $2,014, and rhodium is $8,500.
That's an ounce.
That's an ounce. All those are in ounces. Those are considered precious metals. Now on your base metals, and these are by the pound, copper is $2.37, nickel is $5.47, aluminum is 68 cents, zinc is 87 cents, lead is 73 cents, and uranium is up to $34 per pound. Crude is all the way back up to $32.95 a barrel, and the Dow Jones is up 261 points today. So far it's at 25,256. So we usually give those prices a little earlier in the show, but as you can tell, I was excited to give you an idea of how Missouri viewed silver and gold bullion as money, and I was also excited to share with you this Sound Money wallet, because I have to tell you, this is one of those things that if you're concerned at all about where the economy is going, and or just the U.S. dollar, you might want to consider that. Give me a shout, 417-755-0700, and be happy to answer any questions you might have. Now, let's change gears. You know, I've told you before that when it comes to strategies, there's a lot of vehicles you can choose from. We like to talk about the alternative assets on this show, gold, silver, palladium, platinum, and so forth. But you know, there are some other things that I have strong feelings about, and one of them are these fixed indexed annuities. And, you know, they're not for everybody. You know, none of the stuff we talk about is for anybody. I know Matt always does a disclaimer, and the views and so forth are not those of Axe Media or Axe Ministry. And, you know, I always like to use all the right disclaimers and the fact that just because I talk about gold, it does not mean it's for everybody. You know, if you have an advisor, get with them and visit with them. If you don't have an advisor or you're in between advisors, give me a shout. As I said before, 417-755-0700. But I have one of my marketing companies I work with that every week sends me a rank of how some of the indexed annuities are doing. And I just thought, I usually take this and just save it in a file, but yesterday I got it and I was like, you know, I need to share this. So for those of you especially that are in products that, you know, are volatile on the market and stuff, you know, one of the nice things about indexed annuities is when the market goes down like it did in March, indexed annuities don't go down. I mean, worst case scenario, you get zero, but zero is a lot better than, you know, negative 30 or something like that. But just to give you an idea here of some of the returns so far this year, these are the top 25 of 90 eligible crediting methods. And what they mean by crediting methods is a lot of these fixed index annuities might have 3 to 15, 20 choices inside the annuity. And you can put all your money in one or over a couple of them and stuff. But like right now in the 10-year category, the number one is a Goldman Sachs. It says Motif Triennial Point to Point, and it's up, the return is 7.4%. And just to give you full disclosure, triennial means that the point to point is probably on a 3-year point to point. So you would go in, they would look at where the index is that day, and their first time they would look at it again would be 3 years on your 3rd anniversary and look at it where it is. And from there, it looks to me like what they're working on is a participation rate, and they're saying a 200% participation rate. There is a 1.25% fee in that one. And we can go through, like I said, I've got the top 25, but the number one performer year to date is 7.4%, which when you think about 2020, ain't bad. Now on the 5-year ones, holy cow. On the 5-year ones, the number one performer so far year to date is the Fidelity Multi-Factor Yield 5% ER Biennial Point to Point. Biennial meaning it's a 2-year point to point. And it looks like 185% participation, a 1.5% fee. But the return year to date as of it looks like, I'm looking for the actual date, it must be as of May 1st, was 9.91. And right behind it is a Barclays Focus 50 biennial point to point, and it's got 140% participation, and it's at 9.82. And by the way, that one, the Barclays, has no fee, no cap, no spread. And you know, we've kind of talked about those before. In indexed annuities, there's just a few moving parts, and we can get into those in a different show. But I glanced at the clock. I think I'm just about out of time. Mm-hmm. And with that, I probably should thank, you know, for tuning in. Thanks to Jim and Pam Whining for making this possible. Dr. Paul Collins, as always. I know everybody's looking forward to the telethon. Be there. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week, and stay healthy.